Was that a new bag you were carrying around today, Millie?
Yeah, I guess it was one of my newer ones. Why?
Oh, I just noticed it when we ran into each other, but I couldn't quite place it when I saw it. But I rushed right home and did a little research. If I'm not mistaken, and I never am, it's the new Dutch bag, right?
I'm pretty sure it is. My husband got it for me as an anniversary present. I don't really know that much about it or the designer, though. He was the one that picked it out based on a recommendation from an old friend of his. I'm not all that up on fashion and designers and stuff.
Really? Well, he's got good taste. Or knows people with good taste, at least. I gotta say, I'm jealous. My husband has no eye for these kinds of things.
It is a rather nice bag.
I actually bought the same bag a little while back, but my husband complained that I have too many. He's always complaining about me buying clothes. He really just doesn't understand what it's like to be a woman. I'd love to have a husband that happily buys me brand name bags.
I suppose that it's nice that he goes out of his way to buy me nice things. But I don't really have much interest in all that. I guess it's sort of wasted on me, unfortunately.
Really? It's a shame that he goes out of his way to spend all this money on nice stuff that you can't even appreciate.
Well, it's not that I don't appreciate it.
Isn't it, though? If you don't know how much something really costs or how rare and exclusive it is, you're really not going to be able to care about it appropriately, are you? It'd be better if someone who actually cared about the bag itself had it.
I guess you do kind of have a point.
At the very least, you should learn about the brand a little. I'd be glad to tell you some stuff so you can at least know what you have.
No, it's fine. I wouldn't want to trouble you with any of it. I'm sure I can do some research on it on my own. Thanks for offering, though.
Are you sure? I'm not sure you'll find anyone who knows much more about Dutch than I do. It's a very old brand with a lot of history. And the bags have a lot of hidden details that aren't easy to spot. It's hard to find the right information, and even if you can, you won't really know what to look for unless you know a lot like I do. And you probably want to verify that your bag isn't a fake, I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure that it's not.
Are you absolutely sure it's not? There have been a lot more fakes floating around lately.
I guess I'll have to take your word for it.
It's worth taking at least some precautions to ensure you haven't been ripped off. And considering how much even the fakes go for, I'm sure your husband wouldn't want to see that money go to waste. It would be pretty embarrassing for you if it was a fake.
Yeah, it would. But my husband seems to know what he's doing. I'm pretty sure he did all the right things and bought it at a certified retailer.
Are you absolutely sure about that? High-end and luxury goods aren't really something you can just go buy off the shelf. At least not like some kind of ready-to-wear garbage. It's a lot more complicated than just walking into a store.
I think it's probably fine. My husband clearly did his research, and I don't think he would go out of his way to buy a fake.
If you say so. All I really know is that these kinds of places don't just let anyone buy from them. If you don't seem like you can make the purchase, most of them won't even talk to you. And, well, to put it nicely, you and your husband really don't seem like the type to walk into a high-end store and be served without question.
No, I guess we're really not. But we're not exactly poor either. Nor do we look it, as far as I'm concerned. We may not seem rich, but I think we're well off enough, and I don't think our appearance says anything different.
Do you think so? All I can say is you wouldn't fit in very well with my friends. My husband and I put in quite a bit of effort to look the way we do. And I think it's important that you dress in a way that reflects your standing in society. My husband makes well over 7 figures, and our lifestyle reflects that. We belong to a country club. We take trips to Europe regularly. Fly first class.
That does all sound nice, I guess.
It's great. Our trips to Europe really are wonderful. And our kids have gone to more places before they were teens than I saw before I was 25. I think it's a great way for them to get to know the world a bit better.
That does seem good for them.
I'm glad that you get it. Some of the other mothers that I've talked to at our school just don't understand. Either that or they're just super jealous. It makes it so hard to make friends with them.
That does seem a little tough.
It really, really is. But at least you understand what it's like to have a husband that makes a lot of money. It's nice to know someone who isn't going to be jealous of what you have. I'm sure you can understand.
I guess I sort of understand it. It doesn't really seem like something everyone can easily relate to, though.
It really isn't. But what about you, Millie? When was the last time you went to Europe? Where did you go?
We haven't really been able to travel much since the kids were born. But we are hoping to travel some once they get a little bigger. I'm not really sure about where I want to go once we're able to travel more, though. I've been thinking about it.
It's a shame that you haven't been able to travel much. I don't know what I'd do if I don't at least get to Paris once a year. But it's worse for the children, really.
What do you mean by that?
Well, when they're young, it's such an important time for them to learn. Their minds are like sponges at that age. And if they're able to spend some time abroad while they're young enough, they can pick up languages in a flash, which will be super useful for them in the future. That's part of why we've been taking our kids to Europe for a few months since they were old enough to put together a sentence.
You are definitely right about that. And I've thought about moving overseas for a little while for that reason. But my husband and I decided it was too difficult to move our entire lives overseas at the moment.
That's a shame. Tell you what, next time the hubby and I make a trip outside the country, we'll be sure to buy you something nice. And high-end stuff is way cheaper outside of the US. So we can get you a good deal on that kind of stuff. I buy most of my brand name goods in China or other places like that.
That's a really generous offer. Are you sure you don't mind?
Of course not. I'm already there myself, so it really isn't a problem.
Well, in that case, I'll gladly take you up on it. I do find that I like designer things here and there, but I can never really justify paying full retail prices for them. It just feels like a waste.
Oh, trust me. I hate buying full price, too. Sometimes it's worth it, but when you can get the same exact thing for way cheaper, why waste your money?
It really is kind of you to offer either way.
Hardly. Us girls have to look out for each other. Especially since you can't travel.
Well, thank you very much.
You know, Millie, I have to say that I'm a little surprised. I never thought I'd see a side of you like this. You seem so much more like the other mothers. I never expected you to have such refined taste.
Do you think?
Don't worry, it's meant to be a compliment. I just don't see a lot of women with your kind of taste who manage to stay quite so humble. It's an achievement, if you ask me.
I suppose that's true.
Oh dear, look at the time. I better get going. My kids have their French lesson and I've been sitting in. I'll talk to you later. And let me know if there's anything specific you're after. My husband and I are taking a quick trip to Shanghai soon, so we'll be shopping quite a bit.
Of course. Thanks again. Talk to you later.
Bye! That dinner was so boring. Don't you think so, Millie?
Did you think so? I actually had a good bit of fun.
I really cannot figure you out, Millie. I just could hardly keep my eyes open. That Portia woman is just such a bore. And all she did was jabber the entire time. I don't understand how anyone could have enjoyed it for even a second.
I didn't think she was that bad. She is a bit of a chatty Cathy, I suppose.
It's more than that. She really just doesn't know when to stop. All she does is talk about how great her husband is. It's sort of sad. He barely makes any money compared to you or me. And all she does is blather about the rinky-dink trips they go on and the crappy department store clothes he buys her. You would think she would have a little more respect for the people above her.
Above her? Like who?
Me, of course.
How exactly are you above her?
Didn't you know? How do I put this? We have sort of a pecking order in our little moms group. I wasn't the one who started it. It's been around since before my kids started at the school. I guess you might not know about it since you're still fairly new.
Yeah, we did only just start at the academy this past fall.
Well, let me fill you in then. I'm something of the leader of the group.
Is that why you're the one making all the plans?
That's part of it. I also just have much better taste than most of the other ladies, so they look to me to find the best restaurants and venues for our meetings and events.
Is that the reason you're the leader?
Well, it's not just that. The other ladies also know that what I say goes. We've had some women come into the group who haven't acted quite the way I wanted. And if they don't shape up, we ice them out.
I see.
It's only natural, really.
I can't say I've ever really known any group like that. At least not since high school.
Well, this is how it is in upper-class establishments. Most of these prestigious academies have these sorts of social groups. It's really just how it is to be in the upper class.
I guess I just don't really understand what it's like to be upper class.
If you stick with me, I'll be glad to give you some pointers. It can be tough to keep in everyone's good graces in this world, but I can at least help you out.
I probably do need the help.
I have to admit, you do seem sort of clueless. I'm a bit surprised you've made it this far. You really don't seem to know much about the world around you, let alone the world of the rich.
Well, I try my best. But I do have some catching up to do. Part of it is that when I was younger, I was pretty sick. I wasn't really able to go out and do things like regular kids.
No, that's not really what I mean. It's that you don't really seem to know things about society in general. Not to mention high society. I'm realizing I don't really know that much about you. Like, where did you go to school?
I didn't really go anywhere all that special. And I was homeschooled for a little while. My dad owned his own business and he needed me to help out quite a lot. So I ended up doing a few years at home while I helped him out.
You worked as a kid? That's so... middle class.
It's not really what you think it is.
It sounds pretty straightforward to me. Well, either way, I can catch you up. I can show you what you need to know to make it in society.
If I'm being honest, I'm not sure how interested I am in making it. I've never really cared all that much about it.
Come on, Millie. Now that you're in this world, you need to know how to navigate it. I'm making you a once-in-a-lifetime offer. You should be grateful that I'm doing it at all.
I really do appreciate the offer. I just don't know that I really want to participate in the whole inequality of it all. I don't like to think of people as being above or below me.
Are you really sure you want to say that? I think you're going to regret it if you turn me down.
I think it'll be okay. I really don't feel comfortable participating in this kind of caste making.
I guess I was wrong about you after all, Millie. No wonder you ended up changing schools. Both you and your kids. Clearly, you're just not cut out for this kind of thing. It's a shame. I was going to introduce you to the kinds of people that can help you and your family get ahead in life.
Well, I'm sorry that I can't take you up on your offer. I really do appreciate you wanting to help me, but it just doesn't seem like a good fit. Anyway, I unfortunately have somewhere I need to be. I need to leave it here for now.
Wait, we're not done here. Hello? Millie, you better respond. Hi, Millie. It's been ages. How have you been?
Oh, Laurie. It has been a while. I'm doing fine.
Good, good. Listen, I have something to ask you if you have a second to talk.
Oh, sure. How can I help?
Well, we've been thinking about hiring a maid or a housekeeper or something like that recently. And I thought that you might be interested.
Me? Interested in being your maid?
I was asking around and talking to some of the other moms at school. They said that you're an excellent housekeeper. Apparently, you just love to clean. I just can't imagine enjoying it myself, but to each their own, I guess.
I guess they're not wrong.
Oh, and another thing. It seems like sort of a vicious rumor if I'm being honest, because it just makes you sound even poorer. But they told me you cook too.
I do cook from time to time, but I'm not a chef or anything.
I guess it wasn't a rumor after all. Though I still don't get why you would bother. I haven't cooked a single thing since I got married. If I'm going to eat anything, I'd rather have it cooked by someone who really knows what they're doing. And since I have the money to employ a personal chef, I might as well do it, right? I'm supporting a small business after all.
That's one way to look at it.
So how about it? Do you want to be our housekeeper? My husband already agreed to a generous salary for anyone I find. So I figured I'd offer it to you. I'm sure it'll be a pretty simple job.
It's an interesting offer. I'm not sure I really need the money, but it would be something to do. But I can't decide without at least talking to my husband first.
Really? I was hoping you'd be able to decide right away. Do you really need to ask your husband?
I'd rather talk it through with him before I make any big decisions like this. I don't want to just spring this on him and have it cause problems.
I guess that's fair. But keep in mind, if you do accept, there's a chance you might make some of the other ladies jealous. I know these ladies would kill to make this kind of money on the side.
Is the money really that good?
Well, it is, but if I'm being honest, what they really want is the status. Getting to work with me isn't an opportunity that comes along very often. But I like you, Millie. I wanted you to have right of first refusal before I let those vultures have at it.
That is an important factor in the decision. I'll keep it in mind.
I wouldn't worry too much about it, really. It's worth considering, of course, but I can keep the ladies in line if they get too catty. They'll listen to me, after all.
That much is true.
Anyway, I look forward to hearing back from you. I hope you say yes.
I'll get back to you soon. So, I've thought about the offer you made yesterday, and I talked with my husband about it. He said if I want to do it, I should go for it. So, I guess I'm saying that I accept your offer.
What? Really? You're kidding, right?
No, I'm not kidding. Didn't you offer me the job?
There's no way you can actually take it. Your husband is my husband's boss. I can't have you cleaning my house.
Did you not know that? I thought who my husband is was pretty common knowledge at this point.
If I had known, I would have never offered in the first place. Why didn't you mention it sooner? It's so embarrassing. Hiring my husband's boss's wife as my maid? Even joking about it could get me ridiculed.
If I really wanted to do it, I'm not sure that it's really that big of a problem. But if you're not comfortable with it, I understand.
It's not just that. My husband would never let me do it. I can't ask him if I can hire his boss's wife. He'd be mad at me for even suggesting it.
You could still propose it, I suppose. It doesn't hurt to ask.
Are you crazy? Of course it would. He would think I've lost my mind. If people at his work found out about it, he'd be the laughing stock of the company.
So that means you don't want to hire me after all?
Now you're the one who sounds crazy. Of course I'm not. There's no way I can. It would just be so incredibly embarrassing and shameful. I don't think I could ever live it down.
If you ask me, hiring someone who has a passion for the kind of work you're hiring them for is the opposite of embarrassing. I find it to be rather noble, actually. What is embarrassing, however, is caring so much about what other people think.
What?
And all of this worry about image and class and social standing. I think acting like that is even more embarrassing than whatever faux pas you think you're making by hiring me.
What is this about? Why are you attacking me like this all of a sudden?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it as an attack. More of an observation. When I was talking with my husband, I told him that you were the one who offered to hire me.
You did? Are you trying to ruin my reputation?
It's nothing like that. I just thought it was important information. My husband didn't seem to be very fond of you in general, though.
What? Why does he care? Why doesn't he like me?
Well, I've been telling him about all the events and meetings and dinners we've had, us and the other mothers. And it seems that it's rather colored his opinion of you. All the talk about class and rank and you being above the other ladies, like their boss. It just didn't seem to sit well with him.
Why were you telling him all this?
I tell my husband everything. Don't you?
No. Why would he care about petty drama between women?
Well, I don't know your husband, so I really can't say. But my husband was surprised that the wife of one of his employees would act this way. He seemed to think it was rather unbecoming of someone like you.
Is that all?
No, actually. He seemed to have a pretty strong opinion about the situation. He said he hoped that you would go around to the other women and apologize for your behavior. And make more of an effort to be kinder to them and include them in planning and events more.
I'm not gonna do any of that. I don't owe them anything. And who is he to have an opinion about me in the first place?
That's a shame, because he was speaking with your husband not that long ago, and he seemed to have something of a similar reaction. In fact, he was rather embarrassed about the whole thing. My husband even said that he mentioned something about divorce.
What? Divorce? Is this another one of your jokes?
I'm afraid not.
Why would he want to divorce me? Just because I haven't been super nice to a bunch of women he doesn't know?
I'm not exactly sure. But my husband said he was embarrassed to have a wife who was so rude to others. It sounds like he was rather forceful that he would divorce you if you didn't shape up. Or at least that's what I've heard. He seemed to take particular issue with you offering me a job like that. He was extremely ashamed of that, from what I can tell.
How do you know all this?
Well, I was there for most of it, though I didn't really say much. We had dinner together last night.
You did? How did I not know?
He said you were busy.
I guess I was out that night.
It's a shame. Maybe this could have been prevented.
It could have if you had told me who you were before I said anything. This is all your fault.
Is it, though? I had just assumed you knew who I was. I wasn't trying to hide it, and I'm sure that everyone else at school knows who my husband is. It seems that that's on you.
You tricked me. You could have easily brought it up.
I didn't intend to trick you. I thought you already knew. Like I said, it's pretty common knowledge at this point, and I don't make any effort to hide it. I don't exactly flaunt it either, but it's no secret. I imagine that you didn't bother looking into it more, though, judging by the kinds of judgments you made of me when we first met. I doubt you would have made your offer if you didn't think I was just a normal person who happened to marry rich.
I thought we were friends. Why didn't you tell me about this earlier?
I'm not sure we were exactly friends. At least I never felt like we really were. And my husband pointed out that you seem rather obsessed with shallow things. And are fairly shallow yourself.
Shallow? Did he really call me shallow?
He did. Your fixation on luxury goods and all your concern with your appearance are not really signs of a very deep-thinking person. Or that's what he said, at least. Not to mention, you seem to rule your friend group with an iron fist and intimidate people to get your way. It's fairly unbecoming, if you ask me. I do feel bad for your husband.
How could you say something like that to me? Are you making fun of me?
I'm not making fun of you. I'm just telling you my opinion and what both of our husbands had to say. I thought it was important to be honest with you about how everyone feels. It seems to be important to you, too. You do seem to care quite a lot about what others think, so I thought you should know.
I can't believe you.
Oh, there was one other thing your husband said. The topic of luxury goods came up, And he said that the bag that he got you recently was actually a fake. In fact, a majority of them are.
There's no way.
Were you really not aware? I thought you said that you knew a lot about luxury brands. And you did say that there are a lot of fakes out there these days. And it's getting harder and harder to tell the fakes from the genuine item. I'm surprised you didn't already know. Even I could tell that a lot of your bags were fake, and I barely know a thing about that kind of stuff.
There's no way that's true. Either you're stupid or you're just lying. He bought all of those retail.
Did you ever actually see him make the purchases?
I guess not. I would just tell him what I wanted and he said he'd handle it.
Well, according to him, whenever you'd go shopping, he'd just make a list of the things you wanted and turn around and buy them at the market down the street. He said he bought some real things at first, but it was starting to get too expensive, so he just bought you fakes. He thought you would find out at some point, but apparently you never did, so he just kept doing it. By his estimation, at least 75% of your collection is inauthentic. Possibly more.
You can't actually be serious. There's no way. I definitely would have found this out. You can tell my bags are real, right?
Like I said, I don't really know much about this, so I could be wrong. But the other ladies seem to agree with me that they're obvious fakes. And I'd say they know a lot more than I do. Every time we go out together, I hear them say something about the bag you've got and how it's an obvious fake.
This is all some sort of big joke. Are you pranking me? Is there some sort of hidden camera somewhere?
None of this is a joke or prank. Unfortunately, it's just the truth. And I'm sorry to say, whatever idea you have about yourself is probably fake as well. I've been talking with some of the ladies, and they don't seem to believe what you have to say about you being the boss of the group. In fact, they all seem to think you're vain and flippant, and they only let you make the decisions about venues and restaurants because you have connections. A lot of them seem like they'd rather just not have you in the group at all. But they tolerate you because you can get them into nice places. All this talk of rank and being above them doesn't seem to actually exist. Not in any meaningful way, at least.
What do you know? You're just some poor girl who got lucky with a good husband. I'm sure my husband will get over all of this and we'll go back to normal. But you'll never actually be upper class. You'll always just be a poser.
I hope for your sake you're right. But from where I'm standing, it doesn't look terribly good. Your husband seemed fairly set on considering divorce. Or at least some sort of separation.
I don't want to hear any more of this. You're just messing with me at this point.
I'm really not. I'm trying to help you. I think you should know what he's saying so you're not blindsided by it later. He really does seem determined to end things. He was even talking about how he doesn't want you living in the same house.
He can't do that. He can't kick me out of my own house. What about the kids?
It seems like he can. He does own it. But he was saying that even if you refuse to leave, he'll just take the kids and go live somewhere else until the divorce is finalized. And he seemed to think that the courts would rule in his favor. He's funded their education and done much of what's needed to raise them, while you were busy lording over your friends. It seems to me like he has quite a good argument for why he should get custody. And a good bit of evidence to back it up.
There's no way I'm going to let any of that happen. Can't you do anything? Talk to them and stop this.
I don't know that there's anything I can do. I'm really just a third party in all of this. You should probably be the one who talks to your husband.
You really are useless. I bet you were in on all of this. You just wanted to see me suffer. You must be jealous.
I'm not enjoying any of this. And I'm not scheming against you if that's what you think. Not that there won't be some people who will enjoy it.
I can't believe you. Either way, I'm not going to apologize. I've done nothing wrong. If they can't see that, they don't deserve to be around me.
I suppose your husband feels the same way about you. Or maybe the opposite way? Regardless, he doesn't want to be around you either.
What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do if my husband leaves me?
I suppose you should find a lawyer. At this point, the best you can do is try to not lose everything in the divorce. But it seems like you're likely going to be on your own going forward. So you may wish to start planning now.
He can't do this to me. He can't just throw me out in a ditch like an unwanted puppy.
I'm not sure you have much alternative at this point. It's better off that you come to terms with it now and face it head on than try to force him to come back. But it's going to be difficult no matter what you do.
This can't be the end of it. Isn't there something you can do? Your husband is his boss. Make him do something.
I don't really think I can do anything at this point. Nor can my husband, really. And even if I could do something, I'm not sure I'd even want to bother.
Are you going to abandon me too? I'm your friend.
I thought you were at first, but it's obvious that you just treated me as another one of your lackeys. We were never friends. Not really.
But I wanted to help you. I offered to get you bags and all that stuff on the cheap.
All of that doesn't make up for how you treated me. You seem pretty convinced that I was an ingenue who came from nothing. You didn't even bother to ask about my past once you were convinced of your opinion about it. Not to mention how you treat the other ladies.
What did you not tell me about your past?
Well, a lot. But specifically who my father is. The company he runs is one of the biggest law firms in the country. And I took the time off school to help him as an intern. I was studying to be a lawyer from the time I was in high school and became one of the youngest in the state to pass the bar. I didn't grow up poor, but I did grow up humble. You just jumped to conclusions either way.
I didn't know.
Clearly you didn't bother to learn anything about me. You just let your assumptions based on my appearance dictate your opinion about me.
But if you're a lawyer, that means you can help me, right?
I could, in theory. But I think it would be something of a conflict of interest. And I am not all that interested in taking a losing case like yours anyway. Plus, I doubt you could afford me.
Come on, Millie. Don't let him throw me out like this. Help me!
Lori and her husband had a long, drawn-out conversation about their relationship after she learned of his opinion of her behavior. Needless to say, the outcome was not especially positive. While Lori vowed to change, her track record for this kind of thing was not exactly stellar. The divorce proceedings went ahead soon after their talk, or as it is probably more accurately described, fight. Her husband moved himself and the kids out of their house almost immediately, leaving her all alone to deal with it. Things quickly deteriorated as she found herself alone in a house she couldn't maintain and without money to pay someone for it. As the divorce proceedings wore on, things only got worse. She showed up to court disheveled and drunk, and though the judge did take some pity on her, she ended up with nothing but a pittance in the divorce. Now she is stuck living in a rundown apartment on a fixed income with limited and monitored visitation with her children. While I understand she is trying to fight to restore some of her rights, in her current situation, it seems unlikely that she will be able to achieve much anytime soon. Meanwhile, our mom group has been given a new life with Lori out of the way. Although we've lost access to her exclusive connections and fancy restaurants, we've managed to replace her command with a democracy. I've grown much closer to the ladies since Lori's flare-out, and I'm happy to say I've made quite a few friends. I've even started throwing dinner parties with the ladies a few times a month, allowing me to show off my cooking skills without being condescended to the entire time. It all worked out rather well for me, despite all the drama with Lori. And despite Lori's attitude, we have decided to take one piece of advice she gave us. Next summer, me and my husband are going to take the kids for a summer to Paris. We've even decided to hire a French-speaking au pair to get them ready for the trip. They're already picking up the language nicely, and we hope they'll be fluent by the time we take our trip. I'm making an effort too, and my husband is even taking a class. So before you know it, we'll all be more French than the Eiffel Tower. In spite of everything, at least Lori's influence led to something good. Even if it wasn't really good for her. Thanks for watching.
If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe to see more.